Insert great music here for the intro that we probably should have at this point. I guess do 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 or something. I don't know how music goes. I'm not a musician, but I am Nathaniel, and this is Divine Disbelief. I did count down 3, 2, 1 by myself. Hello, Susan. And wow, I look big on this enormous screen. But this is Divine Disbelief. This is a special kind of, we'll see, video talking about some things that, because I've had a lot of people ask me questions about the upcoming election. And by the way, how? But how are things going to go after the election is over with? I don't know. Hopefully, well, hopefully the president doesn't get us all killed versus 200,000. Anyways, but welcome into this because I want to talk about the upcoming senatorial elections. Now, if you know anything about me, you know that I consider the Senate to be incredibly horrible when it comes to representation. In fact, there may be no worse representation in United States government than in the United States Senate, and that is something that needs to be reformed. With that being said, that's not happening in 2020. Let's be honest. It's probably a good thing it's not happening in 2020, because we would try to do something like, I don't know, reform or change what the Senate would be doing, and then an asteroid would kill California. So let's just be happy that there's nothing happening currently. And also have a little bit of hope, because I promise it is something that is worthwhile. Now, Susan can tell you that back prior to the 2018 election, I had a habit of saying that Democrats and liberals and people who just basically hated Donald Trump, currently hate Donald Trump, I don't know, don't want Donald Trump to be president or anything, would be like this whole blue wave thing that was happening in 2018. And they were very excited about this blue wave thing. And I, the entire time, was saying, hold on, because it's not 2018 when we can expect to see anything like a blue wave. And there's a few reasons for that, but also that 2020 is where we actually need to take a look and see that that's when we really need to focus, not just because it's a general election year, even though it is, and it is an incredibly important general election, but also because of the change in circumstance. So go back with me, if you will, to a simpler time of 2018. Okay, are you back here with me? Look, there's no coronavirus. In fact, what is a coronavirus? Oh, Ebola? Boy, I'm happy that doesn't exist yet anymore. I don't know. It's not like anything crazy could happen between now and the next election. And certainly there won't be like a national or worldwide pandemic that's going to completely terrorize our nation and the rest of the world and lead to millions of people infected with an incredibly deadly virus. No, this is 2018, and we're all optimistic about the upcoming midterm elections, because that's what we do in America. We vote, gosh dang it. Except really none of that, what I just said, was true regarding voting. Now, with that being said, of course, states like Texas, where Texas had the lowest voter registration in the country, that people that were eligible to be registered to vote, Texas was 50th in percentage of people that were actually registered to vote. And now Texas is no longer 50th. So yay, Texas. Sure. That is actually kind of a good thing if you're a liberal or a Democrat, or again, just hate Donald Trump, or all the above. And the reason for that is because really conservatives are already registered to vote, and they already voted anyway. So if you ever see this number of incredible increase of voter registration over the course of these past 2 years, and even moving forward into 2022, which I'm going to talk about a little bit, just understand that a lot of those, the at least majority, in this case, vast majority, would be those folks that would lean left. And Aunt Jer, that was actually something that Susan and I were talking about the other day when we just begged 2017 to end. 2017 seems like a lollipop at this point, I tell you what. But I was saying we need to wait for 2020. Back in 2018, I had the opportunity to work on the Senate campaign. It's actually one of the places that Susan and I really bonded a lot, for Beto O'Rourke down in Texas. I was an incredibly amazing position to be able to do that in Texas. And we ended up taking a candidate who was largely the most popular person in the country. I think arguably could be said that in the latter half of 2018, and uh, almost won in Texas, lost by 2 points in 2018 to a person who's still in the Senate somehow, whatever, that won by like 40 points in 2012. So this is actually a bit of a big deal that there was a 2-point disparity in the state of Texas for Beto O'Rourke coming in and really making that a really competitive race. And we saw that really across the country. But the issue was, and I don't think that a lot of people who were liberal or Democrat really kind of took stock in exactly how this was going to be happening. Now, important to note that Democrats did flip the House of Representatives. Good job, me. Way to do the talking. And we're able to get the majority there, which then, of course, led to quite a few things, including, of course, more than 500 pieces of legislation that have passed the House of Representatives over the course of the past 2 years that currently sit on the desk of the Senate Majority Leader without even being considered. So good job, House of Representatives, for what you're doing and everything, but the Senate doesn't care. Currently, anyways, there were 33 seats that were on in the Senate, which we're focusing specifically on, that were on the ballot in 2018. The issue with this was that at the time, the Republicans had a 52 to 48 majority in the Senate. The Republicans had control of the Senate since 2012, which would, or I'm sorry, 2010, which would have been the midterm election for Barack Obama. They basically did what they could to stonewall anything that Barack Obama would do over the course of his remaining years in office, which would be 6. And they had a 52 to 48, and then they actually lost a seat because Doug Jones won. He beat that guy, the guy who was like banned from shopping malls in Alabama because he's a creepy like child molester dude. Yeah. Doug Jones won and actually gave Alabama a Senate seat that is Democratic for the first time in a while. But the issue, though, was that those seats that were up of the 33, the majority of them were either Democrat seats or they were contested seats that were not safe Democrat and that they could be flipped by the Senate. And that actually did happen in Florida, Indiana, Missouri, North Dakota, and then they had open seats in Tennessee and Utah, in which they won those as well. Quite obviously, Mitt Romney's back. And Democrats did do a couple of different things. They won in Nevada and in Arizona, which I'm going to get into Arizona here in a second. And so what we have is that the Republicans, in a year that was supposed to be the blue wave of 2018, the Democrats took the House, and the Republicans actually, because they flipped Missouri, which is Claire McCaskill's seat there, was unexpected. They actually took a 52 again to 48 majority in the Senate. This, of course, has over the course of the past 2 years led to some things like, I don't know, not convicting a person who was impeached. That's a fair one. If you're in favor of firearm legislation, if you're in favor of basically, enforcing things to pass legislation that would keep people safer and things like this, that didn't happen over the course of the past 2 years, or specifically this year, or even reform for the police and things like that. Whether a person wants to say defunding the police or reallocating funds somewhere else, which sounds like defund, but I don't know. What do I know? The Republicans have control of the Senate and have stonewalled everything. and I do mean fairly well everything over the course of the past 2 years. And I can see all of you folks who are in the chat. I appreciate all of you for being there. Here's voting in Oregon. That's a really great question, because it's not easy to get registered in Oregon right now, because the process of getting a license in Oregon right now is difficult because of the quarantine. But yes, we have figured out a way to get all that taken care of. So that's good. We're not going to not vote, because we can't not vote. And FYI, an important thing here is that I'm going to be chatting about in a future video, chatting about voting, and not just about going and voting and how America basically sucks at it, yada yada, etc. Things we already know, and the Electoral College is bad. Yeah, we know, we get it. But talking about something else entirely that I think that a lot of Americans should be making a push for into the future. And so to let you know, that's going to be something that's likely to in the near future, prior to any election. With that being said, North Carolina and a couple of other states are already voting early. So if you can vote early, do that. But here is the reason that I made this video. Because in 2018, there were 26 Democrat seats on the ballot and 9 Republican. And if you remember, it's 53 to 47, not 52 to 48. I forgot about that. Because that's right. Yeah. Anyways, whatever. 26 Democrat seats that were in 2018 and 9 Republican seats that were there. And if you remember, the Republicans did a pretty good job of holding most of theirs while grabbing a couple from the Democrats. This year, it's not quite fully flipped, but this year on the ballots across our states in the country, there are 23 current Republican-held seats and 12 current Democrat-held seats. This is, of course, a flip of almost, it's basically a complete turnaround. Now, sure, 26 to 9 is not the same as 23 to 12, but the difference has to do with what is competitive. Competitive means something along the lines of, if you go to Wyoming and there's a Democrat running, it's likely not going to be competitive, which is unfortunate. But again, I'll get into that in a voting episode in the future. In 2018, the Democrats were on the defense across the board in almost every state. This year, of the 12 seats that are currently on the Democratic ballot, 2 of them are considered competitive. 2. That means you have 10 safe seats in the Senate if you are a Democrat. Conversely, Republicans have 13. 13 of those 23 seats are considered competitive, which means that they either lean to the right, are a toss-up, or lean to the left. And that's a big deal. You're talking 13. This is, if you looked back into previous years, this is something that, especially with the type of partisanship we currently have in our country, something that one would not have necessarily considered possible 2016 even. But we look at that and we wonder, okay, if there are 13 Republican seats that are competitive and 2 Democrat seats that are competitive, what do Democrats have to do in order to flip the Senate? Well, this is actually really easy. One, you got to win the White House. It's actually a bit of a big deal. The reason for that is, in order to get outright majority, that they hold all of their seats and they gain 4. They'll have outright majority at that point. That is, and I'll get into this, unlikely to happen. So what they actually need more, which is the fairly likely scenario here, is that a scenario which is possible, but I think unlikely, is hold all of their seats and flip three of them, flip three Republican seats, and I'm going to get into the Republican seats here in a moment, while winning the White House. The reason for that is because you'd have a tie in the Senate, and the vice president breaks the tie. Right now, if there was a tie in the Senate, the vice president, as Mike Pence, would break the tie and would go conservative. This is an incredibly important thing because if we look at what is happening with the possibility of a replacement on SCOTUS with Ruth Bader Ginsburg, if there was a tie, consider this if you want to. I've had to, so now you get to subject yourselves to it. If there's a tie in the Senate right now and Hillary Clinton had won the presidency, which, let's be honest, she did. Donald Trump won by losing. Anyways, then you would have Tim Kaine as the vice president. And if there was a tie right now in the Senate, Tim Kaine would cast the deciding vote. As it stands, if there's a tie in the Senate regarding SCOTUS, Mike Pence would be the deciding vote, and we already know which way he would vote. Oh, I do still have it on, don't I? Who knew? Oh, I'm not getting into the filibuster today. That's a different video. You can also lose one seat if you're a Democrat and then flip either 3 or 4. There you go. And that'll give you either a tie or it'll give you the Senate. And as long as you have the White House, if you go that route. The reason it's not so daunting is because of the number and location of competitive seats, some of which are going to surprise you. So here are the list of seats that are considered most likely to flip in November. And by the way, I keep up with this like every day, just about. Susan can tell you that. I've really kind of like taken like the religion stuff and put it on the back burner because it doesn't really seem like it's that much of a big deal right now. With that being said, I was just over on the Friendly Atheist telling Dean Meadows he's wrong about Jesus, but that's the first time in months. So anyways, it's not an addiction. I just like doing it. Leave me alone. Here are, of the 23, here's the 13 considered competitive. And this is in no particular order. States: Montana, Alaska, Arizona, Colorado, Kansas, Texas, Iowa, Kentucky, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Maine. Georgia matters because Georgia actually has 2 on the ballot right now. They have 2 seats on the ballot right now. And there's an issue in Georgia, but again, we'll get into that later. Lieberman, drop out. Seriously. The top 2 go. And if the top 2 are Republicans, that's bad because they can each win a Senate seat. Drop out, Lieberman. God, stop being like your dad. Sorry, was that too much? Seriously, stop it. Anyways, if you're in Georgia, you know what I'm talking about. Also, if you're anywhere and you know who a Lieberman is, you know. But so you have those states. Not all competitiveness is created equal, quite obviously. Like, we don't actually know, because it's so difficult to get like a lot of polling done in Alaska, how competitive or non-competitive it is, because Alaska has sent Republicans and Democrats at almost the same rate over the course of the past 60 years. So it's been odd for that, but Alaska is also competitive. What we also have beyond that are 2 competitive Democratic seats. One of them is Michigan, and the other one, the aforementioned Alabama, with Doug Jones. So how, if the Democrats, oh yeah, I'm atheist. You know what I'm talking about. Shit. I was actually hoping that you would watch this video because you would know exactly what I'm talking about. I know that Ocean, Keltoy, and Surus the Skeptic would also know for sure as well. So, so how can this happen? If you are a Democrat right now, and you're looking at this map and you're wondering, wow, How are there so many states? And what is the small one that looks like a boot? First off, geography. I understand the American educational system's not great. Anyways, number one, so here's the state the obvious here that Doug Jones is not going to win in Alabama. He's going to, Tommy Tuberville, who will probably be as good of a senator as he was at coaching Auburn and Texas Tech and Cincinnati, so not great, is going to unseat Doug Jones in Alabama. And that's just the reality. The state is going to go hard Trump in the election, and it's also going to increase, at least for the time being, the Republicans' lead in the Senate to 54-46. Don't let this disappoint you, because this is something that even after 2017, the special election, we actually expected. We didn't expect Tommy Tuberville to be the one, but I guess if you're just throw anything out, Rusty Ballsack or whatever, and win, as long as it said it's a Republican and loves Jesus and also hates abortion, whatever. Anyways, good job, Alabama. If you're an Alabama fan, how can you vote for Tommy Tuberville? Seriously, that is literally like voting for your enemy. In this case, that'd be like voting for healthcare. How dare you, Alabama? Anyways, let's look at the states that I would say, and I've narrowed it down to three of them that are in the competitive bracket that I think are definitely going to flip. And here you go. Number one is Colorado. If you didn't know, Colorado currently has one Republican senator. So congratulations, you now know something about Colorado that you really probably wouldn't have considered before, because Colorado seems to be kind of blue or whatever, right? Yeah. So you have former presidential candidate and former governor of the state, John Hickenlooper, also he who made a racist comment recently, but has apologized for it. Sure, you're old and stop it, John Hickenlooper. Seriously, also stop being old or let somebody else run for office. Jesus Christ, our country is like not super old, and yet we continue to put people that are above 70 years old in office. What is wrong with us? Moving on. He might win Colorado by double digits. And it's going to flip the seat, which brings the total then to 53-47. And he's going to win by a lot. The reason that I know that, and the reason that I can say that, is because Republicans have already said it. I believe that the quote that I read was that if the math isn't there for Donald Trump, which it doesn't appear to be, then it's certainly not there for, I forget the incumbent's name, and also didn't write it down. That's how much it doesn't matter. Secondly, Arizona. This is an interesting case, much like Georgia, but Arizona, you have Martha McSally, who shouldn't even be in the Senate because she lost her Senate race to Kyrsten Sinema, who notably is, I think, the only person in the Senate who doesn't actually have a religion. She has not said she's atheist, but she swore in on a copy of the Constitution instead of the Bible, or was it Declaration? Either way, I don't care. That was really awesome. Good job, Kyrsten Sinema. But she beat Martha McSally in the Senate race back in 2016. When did 2018, Kyrsten Sinema won, right? Yeah, sure. 2018, Kyrsten Sinema. Good job. So she was then basically kicked. She was like considered a moderate back then. She's basically a QAnon person now. She was considered a moderate. And she then was appointed at the passing of Senator John McCain, who was a moderate. These days, if a Republican doesn't like go lockstep with Donald Trump, they're basically a moderate. Yeah. Anyways, no, he didn't hear. That's funny. And McSally was then put in the position. She was appointed the position. There was no election or anything like that. She was appointed by the governor there and put in place. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry. John Kyle was put in place before her as senator, appointed by the governor to replace John McCain. And then he was like, hey, I'm going to do this. It's going to be great. And then, like, shortly thereafter, he said, wow, I don't want to do this anymore because hashtag scandals. Yeah. And then he resigned. And then Martha McSally was put in place. And Martha McSally was like, all right, I can't wait to be a vitriolic, dishonest person on Twitter. It's going to be great. You thought I was moderate. I'm not. So then you have this person coming up. His name is Mark Kelly. And if you don't know him, the only thing you need to know is that he was a fucking astronaut. All right. He's also married to hey babes. You know, remember the name of the young lady in Arizona who was shot? Yeah, married to Giffords, right? That's who Mark Kelly is married to. So you have an incredibly popular person who, again, married to Gabby Giffords and also an astronaut. What else do you need to say about somebody? I only know the names of two astronauts, okay? Mark Kelly and Tom Hanks. That's it. That's the list. I'd vote for both of them. They're both American treasures and icons. Also, you, RBG. Gone too soon. Arizona is going to vote for Mark Kelly. We see it in every single poll. There's not even like a Republican poll out there that's sitting here saying, hey, we promise it's going to go red. And this is actually kind of a very telling thing because Arizona could flip blue nationally with these kinds of numbers. And it would be for the first time since 1996 when it went for Bill Clinton. That is a bit of a big deal because it has been basically a fairly reliable Republican swing state with its 11 electoral votes. Arizona flipping will give the Senate 52-48. And then you have Maine. Maine has been kind of my favorite to be watching at this point. Oh, and by the way, go back to Arizona real fast. I have to mention this. Is that there's going to be another election in 2022 because John McCain's term ends in 2022. This is weird, and we have horrible elections for the Senate, which is supposed to be 6 years. And seriously, we need to do a different way of having representation and also voting. But I feel like I've said that a lot, and I need to get into it in a different video. Anyways, Maine. Susan Collins has been in office representing Mainers, which I believe that's actually what people from Maine are called or call themselves or nickname. I don't know. They're called Mainers. And for whatever reason, they're not called like the Lobsters. I do know that the University of Maine is called the Black Bears. So good for them, I guess. Mainers. Susan Collins has been there since 1997. She ain't gonna beat no mo. The Speaker of the House, Sarah Gideon, who's a Democrat, leads Susan Collins by 12 points in September. 12 points. The only way that Susan Collins could win this is if something happens to where Sarah Gideon either can't run for some reason and is replaced by somebody else who's not as popular, or some sort of weird scandal. But let's be honest, the only people that care about scandals are sometimes Democrats. Not all the time, just sometimes. Don't lie, Democrats. We know. And that brings that to 51-49. Those are the three that I can basically say these three are flipping: Colorado, Arizona, and Maine. And I've brought this up to other people as well, and can fairly well say that I don't find very many people that dispute these things outside of like hardline people. And I say that because I come up with this. You need one more seat. The Democrats need one more seat to tie the Senate. And of course, they would need the White House at that point as well. And so the people can't say, oh, you're just a liberal trying to yada, yada. Cool. McConnell is not going to lose to Amy McGrath, which, good or bad, I don't care. Gary Peters, who's a Democrat, is not going to lose Michigan. He's up by like 11 points right now. And John Cornyn is going to win Texas. Ouch. So those are three seats that are considered competitive, that aren't going to go they aren't going to have any kind of flipping or anything like that. Mitch McConnell is not going to lose in Kentucky. Gary Peters is not going to lose to a Republican in Michigan, and John Cornyn, Jesus Christ, Texas, come on. It's like you just don't want to be awesome or something. For a state that is like the United States in itself, by saying that you're the best thing ever and yeehaw and Texas and also United States, you're like really bad at being exceptional. Stop it. Stop being the opposite of exceptional. Anyways, John Cornyn's awful. Moving on. But let's get back now, because you have to look at one seat. Now, you need one seat to at least tie the Senate, and two, to bypass the fact that maybe Donald Trump will be president again, because there's a reality in which that exists. It could come from Jamie Harrison, who would upend Lindsey, use my words against me in 2020. Graham, okay, you don't care. In South Carolina, where that's currently tied, that's a New York Times poll, in Quinnipiac poll that came out today. Steve Bullock, the former governor of Montana, who is running for Senate again in Montana. So back in 2016, Donald Trump took Montana, but Steve Bullock won the governorship. Is that the word for that, governorship? I don't know. He became the governor guy in Montana as a Democrat and won fairly handily. He could win there in Montana. It's very feasible. In fact, if you talk to Susan, that's one that I've actually mentioned fairly recently. And then, of course, you also have John Ossoff, OSS, Seriously, we have weird names. And that is possible to flip things in Georgia, where he is currently tied. In Georgia, as a Democrat, North Carolina, Georgia, and South Carolina, geographically kind of backward there, are all three competitive races. In America, in a general election year. Interesting. So you need one seat. But realistically, I don't even necessarily, and this is my prediction, think that we need to even, if you're a Democrat, worry about those three, although that would be just a little bit of thank you so much, because I think the Democrats are going to take 2 seats. And one of those is the Tar Heel state, where Cal Cunningham is doing an incredible job looking to unseat Tom Tillis. Doing that would give Biden and Kamala Harris the necessary numbers that Hillary Clinton didn't have 4 years ago with North Carolina. I think Cal Cunningham is going to win and be senator in North Carolina. And this is cool. Donald Trump won Iowa by 10 points. Joni Ernst, she of the pig farming and all of that stuff, if you remember anything she said about that, is the incumbent in Iowa. And it was actually considered all the way up until like July that it was a fairly safe Republican seat. Polling that came out today, Joni Ernst is losing to Teresa Greenfield in Iowa, in a state that Donald Trump again won by 10 points in 2016. And I think that's going to go that way. I think that is going to go chalk with those two. I think that Cal Cunningham is going to win North Carolina, and I think that Teresa Greenfield is going to win in Iowa. And that will give the Senate, even with the loss of Doug Jones, the majority without having to worry about the White House. If we look at this the way that we are, though, and consider the White House, Arizona would go to would go to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Iowa would go to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Michigan, where the incumbent looks to win, and he's up big, would go to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. North Carolina will go to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. These are incredible electoral vote numbers that are possible. Not just possible, but I think likely. Because this is as much a vote in favor of something better, because people have seen Like the vast majority of people, almost 70% of Americans, have said that they're in favor of waiting to fill the Supreme Court seat. This includes Republicans, by the way, because you can't have a country with like almost 70% that say this without including Republicans. That's an important thing, as well as the majority of Americans don't think that Donald Trump has done a very good job with coronavirus, which is objectively true. Like, it's not even that's not even a question. It's just an objective fact stating that he has not done, and that's what we have, is that we have a large number of people who are voting. Sure, if you are Republicans, you're voting against Donald Trump. Something like 500 generals came out today and were like, "Yo, this guy sucks," and that's a bit of a big deal as well, because that means the military. But and then you also have people who don't agree with the current Republican policies, and Joe Biden is winning with suburban women, both with and without college degrees. That is a big deal, because that's something where, if you look at suburban women, that Republicans have kind of depended on over the course of the past few elections. And then there is the one that never really ever gets polled, and that is 18 to 22-year-olds. These are the college votes. In numbers that I have never seen before. I have never literally have not seen numbers this high for 18 to 22-year-olds before. These are the Sandy Hook graduates. That's who this is. The ones, they call them the Trayvon generation, are finally eligible to vote for a president. 71% of 18 to 22-year-olds said they are absolutely voting in the general election. 71% is an incredible number. Of those, 70% said they are definitely voting for Joe Biden. These are numbers which are not included in what are known as likely voters. I can tell you that likely voters are polled based on how many times they've voted recently. That's what a likely voter is considered. You have likely voters and you have registered voters. The ones that they depend on for their most accurate polling are likely voters, because they're the people who voted in 2018, they're the people who voted in 2016, and all the midterms and everything else, considered likely voters. Guess who's not included on that list are these college-age students who either haven't been able to vote yet, or simply didn't, at that point, weren't informed well enough in 2018. But they now say that 71% of them are voting this election. So when I look at these numbers, they don't exist primarily in Democrat states either. You look at the states that have the highest growth over the course of the past even 10 years. Texas is number one, by the way. And so you have an incredible amount of growth, especially in the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area. Those votes go left. And so that's why Texas is more competitive than people think. I still think John Cornyn is going to win, but 2 points, 1 point difference is a big deal. But that is also why I can say that right now, as of September 24th, I'm confident in what I can see with this. I am rock solid that Doug Jones is going to lose in Alabama, that Hickenlooper is going to win and flip the seat in Colorado, that Mark Kelly is going to kick out Martha McSally in Arizona, and that Susan Collins is going to lose Maine. Those are the 4 things that I am rock solid in. And all that you need at this point then would be 1 more seat. And I think they have it. I think they have it actually quite easily. That might change getting into October. Who knows? But it is late September. Not much is going to change over the course of the next month, especially, again, as states like North Carolina are already voting. So there you go. Mark that down. Let's see here. Most people who are Democratic actually don't show up to vote. Hey, Zolfner makes a point there. That is correct. Historically, at least recently, Democrats haven't voted. And what we see, though, is that the states with the highest amount of voter registration, and these are record-setting numbers. We see those states, they already had a ton of conservative voters, and now they have registration numbers through the roof in those states where people who vote left are getting registered to vote and are saying they're going to vote. That is why the races are going to be much closer, I think, than anticipated in some of those really hard red states like Alabama or Mississippi, or even like somewhere like Louisiana. Might surprise some people in somewhere like Louisiana. And let's see, I think that is, let me see. Voter suppression. Iowa's the only good thing from there is Slipknot, says Santee. Yep, that might be true. They said Field of Dreams was from Iowa, but there it is. Let me see. McConnell is currently in trouble over it's kind of, yeah, I know McConnell's in trouble, but that's not going to affect how things are going to go in a general election year for him. Maybe if this is like a midterm, it might do something. Also, McGrath is not as popular as somebody like her opponent, Cory, not Booker. It could have been Booker. Cory Booker seems like a name from New Jersey, as in like a candidate for president. But I forget what his name was, where he was more popular than she was, and actually almost won in the primary. So maybe if it was a midterm election and somebody other than Amy McGrath, I could see that. But I don't think that it matters with McConnell. Mennonites, special election, which keeps SCOTUS pick out for now. You would think, Mama Atheist, yeah, absolutely, you would think that that'd be the case. And let's hope that it is the case, that that's something that happens. I'm reading through your comments now. I am ashamed of you, Nathaniel. You should know more astronauts. I feel like my list is pretty complete. Thank you very much. Vote Mark Kelly, he was an astronaut and a twin, apparently. And then Susan says, where's my pop? Which pop, Susan?
My RBG.
Oh, is it on your desk?
Oh.
It's right next to her on her desk. It's
right here.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
It's usually right there.
Arizona is going to stay red. I don't see any polling that puts Arizona as still red. Oh, there's a kitty cat in here. I don't see, like, and I've looked, I don't see any polling that Arizona is going to stay red. Ephrata. Let's see. Any other comments there? Anything? Everything is legal in New Jersey.
Thank you.
Go home at Pig Bigot. Or Pig Bot. Any other questions, or if you would like to come in and actually chat about this, you have a couple of seconds. You can send us a DM on Twitter at Divine Disbelief if you want to ask questions about that, or if you just want to say, Nathaniel, stop talking. We're sick of you and getting our hopes up and stuff, which you should. If you're a Democrat or a liberal, get your hopes up here, because not only do I think that Democrats are actually going to flip the Senate in 2020, but I think also win the White House and increase the majority in the House of Representatives to a number that Republicans, no matter how the first 2 years go, may not be able to overcome, even if they try to flip things back in the Senate, which it's not an every other year thing with the Senate. In 2022, don't expect to see the same types of things that we saw in 2018 and now see in 2020. It's much more balanced. Yeah, Mama Atheist, go ahead. If you want to come, you can come in here and ask if you'd like. I can split the screen, I think, and all that stuff. We're on Facebook. Oh yeah, we are on Facebook. We are. I keep shaking my desk. I think I need a better desk. Who knows? Let me see. Somebody liked the reply that I made, or that we made. It's probably me on Twitter. Isn't Susan the best? Yes, she is. I have said this multiple times that I don't know where I would be or what I would be doing without Susan in my life. I can honestly say that I don't know. She not just puts up with me, obviously, in the joking way, but has lived with me through my episodes when I'm asleep at night, which I know aren't easy to get through, and I don't remember a lot of them, and so that matters to me. But also who came to Oregon with me for some reason, and who absolutely it keeps me going every single day, and is so funny and is so intelligent and witty, and also really sexy. And she's got like amazing boobs, and a nice ass too. Just saying. So this isn't like child content or whatever, but if Susan beats Nathaniel, this is a true statement. Can I type 1 in there? I think I can do that. 1. My comment does go. Hey, you. Oh, there you go.
You said I have a nice ass. Thank
She
you.
does. Yeah, right? There's over here. It's mirrored. But somebody said they want to make a bet with me. Oh, why? Make a bet with you. If Arizona goes blue, I'll send you another book you don't want. If they go red, you can send me wine. That seems like a win-win for you. Top-notch ass. Exactly, Maya. Appreciate that very much. So there are ways, by the way, that this could all get thrown out of whack. I don't see them happening over the course of the next 40 days, which, by the way, is the election. If you want to know what our prediction is for the election, if you want to know what our prediction is, they are amazing. For the aftermath of the election and what we are terrified of, you can go and watch a video that we recorded. It's going to be like in our politics folder on YouTube or whatever they're called. I don't know. Talking about the red mirage and how that terrifies us. It's like an hour or an hour and a half video. But I think it's actually worth the time to watch it. So I definitely recommend that. And I am going to be recording a video that I'm going to have to do without StreamYard like this and everything, but actually record it because hour and a half. There it is. I think it's going to be the Catholic person, for not the young lady from Florida, but the person who said that she values God over the Constitution and puts her faith in front of like the Constitution, which seems like a bad thing. What do I know, though? I'm just a godless atheist person who's a damn liberal. Yeah, that one. But I'm doing a video, and it's going to be over. It's going to be over ranked choice voting, and I'm going to explain as best I can, like each of you are 5. Ranked choice voting. I explained it to Susan last night, and I was able to do it at least like in a dry run that it actually made sense, right, babe? Sure, she said yes. The ranked choice voting.
It did.
Yeah.
It made sense.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. There you go. None of them are any good. Yeah. Well, we're gonna see how it goes, right? That's the thing. I believe very strongly that we have not made it this far to collapse at the end. I believe that we are strong enough that we understand. That was the big thing at the beginning of this presidency, right? That is it going to be are we going to get tired of things? Are we just going to have to be like yada yada yada? Are we just going to be like, oh, it's just another thing Donald Trump is doing, and then we just get tired of the rhetoric? And that was a big question that we had, that a lot of people wondered.
And I am proud of every single one of you who didn't fall into that mindset, but kept on him and really in 2018 made a big difference, and that now we're going to make a bigger difference in 2020. And the fact that you have done that, I am proud of the people that live within the fake borders of our country, which shouldn't exist, but whatever. And I believe that we are going to make good choices. And if you want something to kind of consider, Clarence Thomas is pretty old. I don't know. Something that could work out. Anyways, thank you so much for being here. And if you're not, see, this is me making a gaffe like Joe Biden or Donald Trump, but actually going back and understanding that I made a gaffe and then fixing it. If you are not currently registered to vote, please go, hey, Randolph, and go and get registered to vote. If you're a Canadian, I don't know how it works up there. Do you guys vote on things? Anyways, go and get registered to vote. If you're Math Pig, help people in America get registered to vote, and then don't commit voter fraud, Math Pig. We love you and everything, but do that, and then make sure that your friends and family are registered to vote as well, because the only way that we can currently make our voices heard, no matter how many times we march in the streets, no matter how many times the police beat the fuck out of us for literally no reason, the only thing that we can do right now in the system that we have is vote. We can we can break the system, which is what we need to do. The system works just fine the way it is because it's set to work this way. We can break the system, and that's a process that we should do. But the only thing that we have right now is that we have to go out and we have to vote. Don't vote your fucking conscience type bullshit. That's not even a real thing. Go out there, and if you care about equal rights, and you care about equity, and if you care about women's rights and social justice and racial justice, and you care about climate change, or anything that apparently healthcare, the price of medicine, things that we know Republicans don't fucking care about, go and please vote for the progressive candidate. Because let's be honest, if you're a conservative, you haven't made it this far anyways. So, hi conservatives, make sure you like and subscribe. That's an important thing. I'm not getting that. So, but I think that's going to do it. We're going to have, Susan's going to be on Saturday with Michael Smith, Thomas Smith
of Opening Arguments, Comedy, Shoe Shine, Serious Inquiries Only, and Philosophers in Space.
There you go.
Talking music.
Talking music is Susan. That is very exciting. We are also going to be releasing a introduction to an upcoming series. And if you are a white person in America, this series ain't going to be easy for you to watch. But you need to watch it anyways, because it's an important thing. But we're going to be releasing the first video that's like an introduction into that very soon. As in, like, very soon. So be prepared for that. Also be on something. Oh, I'm making a video for ranked choice voting, which Maya said that she currently has the education on it of a 5-year-old. So there you go. I'll be explaining it as best as I can for people that need to see how just crazy it looks on the outside, but how easy it actually is. So that'll work. Thanks again for everybody staying by and everything. You, especially because we made this on pretty short notice, and I was on Friendly Atheist for a little while. Richard was there, or Randolph Richardson was there. So good to see everybody, and I thank you so much. Susan does too. I know that. Make sure, yeah. Hey, I tell you what, like and subscribe. And also, please leave us comments, especially if they're going to be comments and you're watching this that just tell us how wrong we are and that you hate us. We need some negative comments. We don't have any yet, and we don't feel validated. So please give a great big hug for me. I will. Bye, everybody. How do you end this?